The Coral Tree by Ruskin Bond. The night had been hot, the rain frequent, and I slept on the veranda instead of in the house. I was in my 20s and I had to begin to earn a living and felt I had a certain responsibilities. In a short while, a tanga would take me to the railway station, and from there, train would take me to Bombay, and then a ship take me to the England. There would be a work, interviews, a job, a different kind of lifestyle. So many things that this small bungalow of my grandfather's would be remembered fitfully in the rare moments of reflection. When I awoke on the veranda, I saw a grey morning, smelled the rain on the red earth, and remembered that I had to go away. A girl was standing in the veranda porch, looking at me very seriously. When I saw her, I sat up in bed with a start. She was small, dark girl, her eyes big and black, her pigtails tied up in a bright red ribbon, and she was fresh and clean like the rain and the red earth. She stood looking at me and she was very serious. "Hello," I said smilingly, trying to put her at ease. But the girl was like business. She acknowledged my greeting with a brief note. "Can I do anything for you?" I asked, stretching my limbs. "Do you stay near here?" She nodded again. "With your parents?" With great reassurance, she said, "Yes, but I can stay my own." You are like me," I said. For a while, I forget about things in an old man of 20. I like to do my own. I am going away today. "Oh," she said a little breathlessly. "Would you care to go England?" "I want to go everywhere," she said. "To America, Africa, Japan, and Honolulu." "Maybe you will," I said. "I'm going to everywhere and no one can stop me." "But what is it you want? What did you came for?" "I want some flowers, but I can't reach them." She waved her hand towards the garden. "That tree, see?" The coral tree stood in the front of the house, surrounded by pools of water and broken fallen blossoms. The branches of the tree were thick with a scarlet pea-shaped flower. "All right," I said, "just let me get ready." The tree was easy to climb, and I made myself comfortable on one of the lower branches, smiling down at the serious face of the girl. "I will throw them down to you," I said. I bent a branch, but the wood was young and green, and I had to twist it several times before it snapped. "I am not sure that I ought to do this," I said, as I dropped the flowering branch to the girl. "Don't worry," she said. "Well, if you are ready to speak up for me." "Don't worry." I felt a sudden nostalgic longing for childhood, and an urge to remain behind in my grandfather's house, with its tangled memories and ghost of Easter year. But I was only one left, and what could I do to except climb a coral and jackfruit trees? "Have you many friends?" I asked. "Oh yes." "Who's the best friend?" "The cook. He lets me stay in the kitchen, which is more interesting than the house. And I like to watch him cooking, and he gives me things to eat and tell me stories." "And who's your second best friend?" She inclined her head to one side and thought very hard. "I will make you the second best," she said. I sprinkled the coral blossoms over her head. "That's very kind of you. I am happy to see you your best friend." A tanga bell sounded at the gate, and I looked out from the tree and said, "It's came for me. I have to go now." I climbed down. "Will you help me with my suitcase?" I asked as we walked together towards the veranda. There is no one to help me. I am the last to go, not because I want to, but I have to go. I sat down on the porch and packed a few last things in a suitcase. All the doors of the house were locked. On my way to the station, I would leave the keys with my caretaker. I had already given instructions to an agent to try and sell the house. There was nothing more to be done. We walked in the silence to the waiting tanga, thinking and wondering about each other. "Take me to the station," I said to the tanga driver. The girl stood at the side of the path on the damp red earth, gazing at me. "Thank you," I said. "I hope I shall see you again." "I will see you in London," she said, "or America, or Japan. I want to go everywhere." "I am sure you will," I said, "and perhaps I will come up and we will meet again this garden. That would be nice, wouldn't it?" She nodded and smiled. We knew it was an important moment. The tanga driver spoke to his pony and the carriage set off down the gravel path. Rattling a little, the girl and I waved to each other. In the girl's hand was a sprig of a coral blossom. As she waved, the blossom fell apart and danced lightly in the breeze. "Goodbye," I called. "Goodbye," called the girl. The ribbon had to come loose from her pigtail and lay on the ground with the coral blossoms. "I'm going to everywhere," I said to myself, "and no one can stop me." And she was fresh and clean like the rain and the red earth.